Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology TGIF. I am so thankful we made it through to Friday. I hope you guys are having a great evening, or if you're watching this Saturday, I hope you're having a great Saturday morning. Now, I wanted to give you an update. We're going to look at this record, by the way, and that unit as well, the J2. The 45J. The J2 is still mothballed and awaiting a decision as to its next steps. Its fate undecided at this point, but my beautifully restored by Fardemark, aka Peter Landry, 45J is what we're going to be using tonight. I love this thing. Been into record changers lately. What am I going to say? And speaking of record changers, you may be wondering why we're not talking about the Glenburn record changer we picked up this week. So, funny story. Let me see if I can show you rather than just tell you. So, that turntable uses, it's got an M81 range of, or type of stylus cartridge, and this stylus is the type that came out of it, and I wanted to get a replacement because I feel like it's blunted. So I ordered one, and all is fine and good. However, I ordered the N44 variant, which has the non-angled stylus tube. So if you look at the side of this, you can see how it angles down. It's because the cartridge is at an angle, so this has to kind of go up, whereas this one just mounts straight on. So basically I got the wrong one. So I've got to do a return on this, and then I placed an order for the right one. Bad news is it's not going to be here for a week, so we're not going to be able to do much with it until then. I am going to experiment using my Judy Collins record. For those of you that don't know, Judy Collins record is my test record. That's the one we ran the rock blocks on. Anyway, you may be saying, what have you got against Judy Collins? I really don't have anything against Judy Collins. My wife had a run-in with her where she was not the nicest to my wife. So we kind of have a slightly tongue-in-cheek joke going back and forth. Plus, Judy Collins shows up every time I go vinyl hunting. She is my arch nemesis. Jokingly fun in a very non-serious way, arch nemesis. Actually, yeah, she's got talent, all that stuff. But hey, she's a test record. So anyway, I might use the Judy Collins test record on the Glenburn and run some more tests. And maybe that stylus isn't as bad off as I thought it was. But some people say you should always get a new stylus when you get a new record player, just to be on the safe side. That's neither here nor there, but that's why we're not taking a look at that. But tonight, we're looking at this very cool box set. This came with the J2. This was hiding down there in the box underneath, and it's a fantastic, fantastic collection. I keep thinking this is Reader's Digest, but it's not. It's an RCA Victor's Listener's Digest. This is literally like an I don't even know what you would call it. Introduction to music? I don't know what you would call it. It's all classical music. And I'm going to demo the records too, but I really want to show you the packaging. It's fantastic. So about 1.5 inch thick box in remarkable condition. This probably dates, similar to the record players, probably, mid-50s we're talking about here. This is sort of a brownish maroon box. Color's coming across pretty accurately on camera from what I could tell. And this big thick sticker on here with a beautiful rendering of the famous RCA His Master's Voice logo. Looking closer there, printed in USA, which is really cool. The exciting new shortcut to great music. Interesting. And then on the side there, these 45 sets were all designed to be, shelved with the edges readable. Nothing on the back, nothing on the top, the sides, the bottom. Opens up with just kind of a paper seal holding the lid and sides together. First thing you're greeted with is a big, thick booklet. So let's take a look at this thing. It is pretty sizable. It's the same size as the box. It fills it corner to corner, stapled. And a lot of these box sets, these staples will be rusted over the years, but I have not read this yet, but actually I probably will, at least in pieces. It's a great book about, I like the Leopold Stokowski did the intro. I think that's really cool. And some famous composers and just a, who's who of classical music. Truly, truly interesting. This is what I would consider an audiophile product. Have you ever seen that? And I think I've got it under one of my playlists about something about videos you should watch or something. And it's like a very 1950s film, an RCA promotional film, talking about different types of listeners. And there's this guy with this hilarious face that's in ecstasy listening to classical music. This is what I imagine, on the receiving end of this. Somebody that really wants to sit down. I mean, this is an activity. You would put the records on the changer. By nature of the fact that it's a changer and we have a stack of records, we're going to do this here in a minute, you could stack them up and let them play all through the entire stack before I needed to flip them. So that's the benefit of a changer. Meanwhile, you've got plenty of time to slink back in your oversized easy chair and read this stuff. And because it's classical music, it even lends itself to reading pretty well. So I'm not going to go every page, but pretty neat stuff there. And are these EP records? Let's take a sneak peek. If they're EP, they're even going to be longer, more music. I'm not sure if that's an EP. Yeah, it is, 45 EP. So for those of you that don't know, we've done a show about this. I hate saying that over and over. I feel bad about it, but a lot of people ask us about stuff we've covered. So I want to point out that we have done shows about that in case you want to see it. But the EP format is interesting, or it's not really a format. It's more of a variant. Basically, the grooves are modulated closer together, so there's more music on a side. Still 45 RPM, but you can fit more music on a 45 EP than you can on a non-EP. EP just means extended play. Looking at the back of this, it's just so cool. There's so much to absorb. Now, the records themselves, what we'll do is we'll go through this box set, and as we pull the records out, I'll go ahead and stack them up. They're not going to be in order. They're going to be in just whatever order. I haven't even cleaned these discs, as you can tell, since I got them. Dang it. I just had the record washer out yesterday, and I didn't think to clean these ones. And doing the record washer thing was really fun the first few times I did it, and now it's kind of a chore. I hope the spin clean people aren't watching this. It's at least an hour and a half project. I only had like 6 or 8 records that I had to do, and it's still an all-afternoon affair. It does such a great job. You can't avoid it. You need to do it. But at the same time, it's just, man, it takes a lot of time. And I should have done this while I was at it. But beautiful gray RCA Victor label. One of the Glenn Miller limited edition volume 1 sets I have has this label. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, it's a 45. So these records, we've talked about this before, are thicker in the hub, which is this area here, so that when they're stacked, the playing surfaces don't touch. So, assuming there's not a lot of warpage, we'll not have any damage by stacking our records. I'm going to scoot this forward just so you can see it a little bit better. And then in between each record is going to be a little piece of paper with some awesome advertisements. I love the drawings on this stuff. So even though this is a classical record set, it's going to advertise pop music, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Classic albums from RCA Victor's 101 famous bestsellers. Really cool. Again, more paraphernalia to, look at while you're listening to the music. Listening to music, like this is an activity. Unlike, if you're anything like most people, most of the time when you're listening to music these days, you're doing something else. You're washing the dishes, you're sweeping out the garage, you're working, and you're sitting there with your music on in the background. It's like the soundtrack to your life. Look at these ones. These are a different color. But this isn't designed to necessarily be that way. This was designed for a music listening experience that you weren't doing anything else. You were sitting here and you were paying attention to the music, and it was a slow process. There was no computers to distract you. You would just chill out and spend the afternoon and enjoy this album or whatever music you wanted. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of cool stuff to look at, papers, books, things to, read and look at what you wanted next. You might be listening and say, oh, that looks like a good set. I'll get that next. Which is exactly what they want you to do. But they knew you had time on your hands, which is why they put all this advertisement in front of you. This is interesting. The collector's issue label designates a recording of great historical and musical interest. Very, very cool. Never before, perhaps never again. Really, really neat. I don't know how many, oops. Okay, don't do what I just did. That was bad. It was sloppy. And then there's a big cardboard piece in the bottom of this, just as filler. I mean, this is like look how thick that is. 2 pieces. And then in the bottom, sort of a QC quality check label. Number 62. Inspect it. So we've got our records stacked up. Let me move this box out of the way now. I love this stuff. 45s. It's an awesome thing because you can play a 45 on pretty much any record player. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 format where you can play LPs on a lot of modern record players and 45s. So these 45 specific units like this, it's just an extra treat. Again, looking through the center here, you can see where the hubs are the thick part and they touch, but the playing surfaces for the most part do not, unless they are warped. So without further ado, let's go ahead and turn this on. You'll hear a little bit of a hum. It's got a slight grounding issue. It just, it's going through a preamp and there's no proper ground in place, but that being said, the sound quality is actually phenomenal. I have the bass rolled off a little bit, and the speaker's a little far away from the camera right now. Okay, so see how it's wobbling like that? Every so often, that'll happen. And just remount it. Find a sweet spot. Sometimes if there's too many records on there, it'll do that. Okay, it may just be too many records on there. And it'll play through. It'll play all the way through until the end of the record, then it'll switch, and if you hit the reject button you can skip to the next record instantaneously. But it's automatic at this point. I mean, this is fully automechanical. Well, it is. It's electromechanical, but fully automatic record listening experience. You just put these on, you look through the booklets, you enjoy the music, you close your eyes, you focus on what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're not distracted with life. That's the idea. And this is a unique experience. You can get more music out of a stack of records like this than you can with, an LP album. So back when we're, talking about the competitive side of the format war between RCA Victor's 45s and their 45 changers and Columbia's LPs, there's different, this one takes up more space, but you can play more music and it lasts a lot longer. And, each one had its own, unique qualities, and we've talked about that ad nauseum. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I just wanted to check out that new album with you, and another excuse to play with this beautiful changer. It's just an absolute engineering marvel, and I'm so thankful for it. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.